If you're over 40 and your knees sound like bubble wrap every time you squat, this might be the most important thing you hear today. Because what I'm about to share isn't just about building muscle anymore. There's a supplement sitting in your cabinet right now that researchers believe could actually protect your joints while you train. And no, I'm not talking about glucosamine or fish oil. I'm talking about creatine, the same stuff you thought was just for 20-year-olds chasing bicep pumps. Here's what nobody tells you. After 40, your body doesn't just lose muscle faster. Your joints start breaking down differently too. The cartilage thins, the synovial fluid that cushions your movements, it decreases, and inflammation creeps in like an uninvited guest that never leaves. But here's where it gets interesting. A study published in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition found that creatine supplementation in older adults didn't just improve strength, it actually reduced markers of bone resorption and improved functional mobility. Translation: your joints might actually benefit from the same supplement that's been helping athletes for decades. Now, before we go further, let me be clear. This is educational content based on current research. I'm not a doctor, and this isn't medical advice. Always consult with your healthcare provider before starting any new supplement, especially if you have existing health conditions or take medications. So why does creatine matter for your joints when you're over 40? Let's break down what's actually happening inside your body. When you move, your cells need energy. Fast. That energy comes from something called ATP, adenosine triphase. Think of it as your body's rechargeable battery. Creatine helps regenerate ATP faster, which means your muscle cells have more fuel during those tough moments. Like when you're pushing through that last rep, or climbing stairs after leg day, or just getting off the couch without making that involuntary grunt we all pretend we don't make. But here's the part that blew my mind. Research from McMaster University showed that when older adults combined creatine with resistance training, they experienced significantly greater improvements in muscle mass and functional tasks compared to those who only did resistance training. More muscle around your joints means better stability. Better stability means less wear and tear. Think about your knee joint for a second. It's basically two bones separated by cartilage and held together by ligaments and muscles. When those muscles are weak, your knee joint takes all the impact. Every step, every lunge, every time you stand up, that's thousands of microtraumas accumulating over time. Now imagine those same muscles are stronger, denser, better supported. Suddenly your joint isn't absorbing all that force alone. The load gets distributed. The impact softens. And here's what researchers found fascinating. Creatine doesn't just build that muscle, it might actually help reduce inflammation in the process. A meta-analysis looking at creatine and inflammatory markers showed promising results. In several studies, participants taking creatine showed reduced levels of C-reactive protein, a key inflammation marker. Now, we need more research specifically on joint inflammation. But the early signs, they're compelling. Let me tell you something that changed how I think about aging. Your 40s aren't about decline, they're about strategy. You can't train like you're 20 anymore. Your recovery takes longer. Your joints are more sensitive. But that doesn't mean you're done. It means you need to be smarter. And being smarter means understanding that supplements like creatine aren't just for bodybuilders. They're tools for longevity, for staying active with your kids or grandkids, for hiking that trail without your knees screaming at you the next day, for living the life you actually want to live. Here's a real-world example. I've seen countless people in their 40s and 50s who stopped training because their joints hurt. They thought the pain meant they needed to stop moving. But often, the opposite is true. They needed to move better and support those movements with proper nutrition and supplementation. One study from the University of Saskatchewan tracked older adults over 12 weeks. Half took creatine with their training program, half didn't. The creatine group not only gained more muscle and strength, they also reported better performance in daily activities. Things like carrying groceries, gardening, playing with pets. The movements that actually matter in real life. Now, let's talk dosing because this matters. Most research suggests starting with 3 to 5 grams daily. You don't need a loading phase like some old-school protocols suggest. But that was based on outdated thinking. Just consistent daily intake. Mix it in your coffee, your protein shake, or even just water. It's tasteless and dissolves easily. And here's something crucial. Creatine works best when you're actually using your muscles. It's not a magic pill you take sitting on the couch. You need to pair it with resistance training. Even twice a week makes a massive difference. Bodyweight exercises, bands, light dumbbells, whatever you have access to. Your joints need movement to stay healthy. Cartilage doesn't have its own blood supply. It gets nutrients from the synovial fluid that gets pumped through the joint when you move. So when you stop moving because something hurts, you're actually depriving that joint of what it needs to heal. Think about that for a second. The very thing you're avoiding might be the thing that helps you. Obviously, I'm not saying to train through sharp pain or injury, but low-grade discomfort, stiffness, those creaky sounds. That's often your body asking for more movement, not less. There's also emerging research around creatine and bone health. A study in medicine and science in sports and exercise found that postmenopausal women who combined creatine with resistance training showed improvements in bone mineral density compared to training alone. Stronger bones mean more support for your joints. Everything is connected. What surprised me most wasn't just how creatine changed my results, but how everything started to look different when I switched to the right product. Not sponsored, just what actually worked. After I tried a few, I'll leave the link below in case you want to try it. Now, let me address the elephant in the room. Is creatine safe for people over 40? The research overwhelmingly says yes. Decades of studies show it's one of the most researched and safest supplements available. The myths about kidney damage, debunked in healthy individuals. The water retention, usually minimal and actually helpful for joint cushioning. But again, if you have kidney issues, talk to your doctor first. If you're on medications, check for interactions. This is common sense stuff, but it's worth saying clearly. Here's what I want you to take away from this. You're not too old to build muscle. You're not too broken to move well. And your joints aren't a lost cause just because you've got a few decades on them. With the right approach, which includes smart supplementation, strategic training, and consistent effort, you can feel stronger at 45 than you did at 35. Where are you watching from, and what's your biggest challenge with staying active after 40? Drop a comment below. I read every single one, and your questions help shape future content. One more thing before we wrap. Recovery matters more now than ever. Creatine helps, but so does sleep, hydration, and not training the same muscles every single day. Give your body time to adapt. Progress isn't linear. Some weeks you'll feel unstoppable. Other weeks you'll feel like you aged 10 years overnight. That's normal. Stay consistent anyway. The people who win in their 40s and beyond aren't the ones with perfect genetics or unlimited time. They're the ones who show up even when it's hard, who make small, smart decisions every single day, who understand that building a strong, resilient body is a long game, not a sprint. And honestly, that's the beauty of training after 40. You stop caring about looking like a fitness model and start caring about feeling good in your own body, about keeping up with life, about being strong enough to do the things you love without pain holding you back. So if you've been on the fence about trying creatine, maybe this is your sign. Start with a quality product. Take it daily, pair it with movement, stay patient, and watch what happens over the next few months. Not just in the gym, but in how you feel moving through your day. Your joints will thank you. Your muscles will thank you. And future you, 10 years from now, will thank you for making the decision to invest in your health today instead of waiting until things got worse. See you in the next video. Bye.